we'd like to go ahead and get started. We have a lot of good information for you all, and we want to make sure we get it in. So we're going to go ahead and begin. And again, I'd like to welcome you all to the forestry portion of the Real Life Conference. At this time, I'd like to ask the Forestry Commission staff to stand and introduce themselves. Are they in the hall? Okay, I believe they went to get chairs, so maybe we can do that at another time. Our first speaker is Mr. Lee Williams, and he followed in the footsteps of his father, who worked for 20 years with the Mississippi Forestry Commission and started his business in forestry. He has been in the woods since he was old enough to go with his father, and so he's been with forestry in most of his life. He has his degree from the University of Arkansas at Monticello, and he's been working as a county forester with the Arkansas Forestry Commission since October of 2009. Is presently the chair-elect of the Southeast chapter of the Society of American Foresters. He also sits on the Taylor Committee of the Ouachita chapter of Society of American Foresters, and he sits on the Arkansas Foresters Hall of Fame Committee for the Arkansas Division of Society of American Foresters. So at this time, I'd like to invite Sammy Williams up, and he'll be talking to us today about the importance of a management plan. So,
thank you. Before I get started, I'd like to say it's an honor for me to be here this morning, and I want to thank Yvette Browning and the Arkansas Forestry Commission for allowing me this opportunity. All right, let's start by answering this question. What is a forest management plan? Simply put, it's a landowner's guide for accomplishing specific objectives and goals. One objective may be timber, and under timber, you've got several different things you can do: reforestation, timber stand improvement, wildfire protection, and thinning. Another objective is wildlife: deer, turkey, birds, and you can manage for each one of these individually or manage for them all together. It just depends on what you want to do on your property. Soil and water conservation, this is a big one. The Arkansas Forestry Commission has a book called Arkansas Best Management Practices. What this book is for is it sets forth guidelines in order to reduce soil erosion on forest lands. Some of the things that it talks about is permanent roads, non-permanent roads, creek crossings, and stream management zones. And it specifically tells you how you need to do these certain things to reduce soil erosion on your property. Aesthetics. How does your forest look? How do you want it to look? This picture here is of a 35-year-old pine plantation that was thinned about 5 years ago, and 2 years after the thinning we came in and did a prescribed burn, and you can see how nice it looks out there now. This plantation here, when I took this picture, it was in the process of being thinned. You can see the log and debris and stuff on the ground. What we're going to do is let this melt down, let all this log and debris melt down for 2 or 3 years, and then we're going to come in and burn it. And it'll look just as nice as this over here, maybe even nicer. Recreation. You got hunting, fishing, ATV trails, hiking trails, wildlife viewing trails. Whatever you would like to do on your property, a management plan can help you accomplish it. All right, why forest landowners need a forest management plan? You need professional assistance. And the reason why is because it takes years to heal mistakes. The best example I can give you of this is what we call high grading. And basically what that is when a logger comes in and cuts out the best trees and leaves the low value trees, basically leaves the junk. Really the only way that you can fix this is to come in and clear cut and start over. That's going to cost you time, it's going to cost you money. You want to protect your investment. You want to increase the value of your property. Forest management plan can help you do this. A well-management forest provides improved income opportunities. You want to leave something for future generations to enjoy and profit from. Harvesting timber, again, Probably one of the most important times. You want to get professional advice before you harvest, not after. Okay, how do private landowners get a forest management plan? You want to contact a professional. First place to start is with the Arkansas Forestry Commission. You contact your county forester. If you don't know who your county forester is, you can go to the Forestry Commission website at arkansasforestry.org, or you can Google it, type in Arkansas Forestry Commission, get to the home page that way. On our home page, we have a box, a little search engine on the top left corner. You can type in "who do I call?" and it'll take you to a map of Arkansas. You punch on the county you live in, it'll give you a map to the work center, all the contact information you need for the county forester. You can tell him what you want, and he can help guide you through the process. For instance, if you want to sign up for a government cost share program, such as the Environmental Quality Incentive Program, he can direct you to the Natural Resources Conservation Service and the District Conservationist. And we have one here with us this morning. Her name is Ernest Young. The Farm Services Agency, if you want to sign up for a Conservation Reserve Program, this is who you need to go through, the County Executive Director. If you want to manage for wildlife, and the Arkansas Forestry Commission does have wildlife biologists on staff, but you can go through the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission and talk to a wildlife biologist in your area. And a professional forestry consultant. If you want to harvest timber, this is the way you need to go. You get hire a forestry consultant to protect you, protect your investment. He's going to make sure that you get the best deal on your timber. He's got guys that work for him that are good. This is the best way to go. You want to get your forest certified under the Forest Stewardship Program and/or the American Tree Farm System. And the reason why is because public pressure from environmental and green groups have put pressure on distributors and building products producers to use wood from certified forest. In the future, it is foreseeable that there is going to be pressure put on forest landowners from buyers of the wood to be certified. And certification does not only address wood concerns, but also wildlife and water concerns. If you go to Home Depot or Lowe's today, any piece of lumber that you buy will have a little sticker on it saying that it came from a certified forest under the Forest Stewardship Initiative. That's the reason it's important to get certified. Let's talk about the Forest Stewardship Program. This is a federally funded program. It's administered by the Arkansas Forestry Commission. It's a means by which a landowner has access to resource professionals. Private landowners can obtain a forest management plan at no cost. And private landowners prioritize specific objectives or goals. And landowners and resource professionals would develop a forest management plan, so you as a landowner will be involved in the development of your forest management plan. Who is eligible? Private landowners who own a minimum of 10 forested acres and private landowners who would like to manage their forests for multiple resources. Once enough activity has gone on your forest, on your land, then the county forester will get you certified. Once you get certified, you'll get a sign with your name on it. And usually what I try to do is take a picture of my landowners with their sign, get it put in the paper. You get public recognition for being a good steward of the forest. American Tree Farm System. The American Tree Farm System is the largest and oldest sustainable family woodland system in America. It includes 27 million acres of certified forest land managed by America's family forest owners who are meeting the highest standards of sustainability and managing their lands for water, wildlife, wood, and recreation. Who is eligible? Landowners who own 10 acres or more, and landowners who manage their property under a written management plan that accounts for water quality, wildlife habitat, soil conservation, as well as forest product production. You don't have to have a stewardship plan to get certified in the American Tree Farm System, but you have to have a plan in place. So why not have a forest stewardship plan? You'll be certified 2 times, one in the stewardship program, one in the American Tree Farm System. And landowners who want to protect their land from fire, insects, and disease. The management plan will help you do this. All right, financial assistance and cost share. The first one I'm going to talk about is the Southern Pine Beetle Prevention and Restoration Program. It's administered by the AFC, or Arkansas Forestry Commission, and to be eligible, you must own a minimum of 10 contiguous forested acres. Now, the southern pine beetle is a bad little bug that kills pine trees. And if you don't manage for it, it can totally decimate a forested stand, a pine stand. Now, the way we do this is try to prevent the southern pine beetle from ever getting started. The way we do that is keep the trees healthy and keep them growing vigorously. So what we do is go in and thin. When we thin, we release nutrients and water from the soil that these other trees are taking up. And that's how you keep the trees healthy. One means that we use to do this is a pre-commercial thinning. And this is done in an immature stand. Our target is 400 to 500 trees per acre. So if you have 600, 700, 800 trees per acre, this may be something that you might want to think about doing. It pays 75% of the actual expense, not to exceed $100 per acre. There's also a thinning incentive for non-commercial thinning of $50 per acre. So if you find someone that will do a pre-commercial thinning on your property for $160 per acre, all it would cost you out of pocket is $10 per acre. Now, this pays a maximum of $10,000. That's all you can get. All right, our first commercial thinning. This is done when it's ready to be cut for pulpwood. You get $50 per acre. You must have a minimum of 120 square feet of basal area per acre. Basal area is just a term that foresters use to describe how much wood is on an acre of land. There's also a $1,000 logger incentive for tracts under 20 acres, between 10 and 20 acres. That's just to make it more appealing for a logger to move his equipment on a small tract. This also maximum of $10,000. Environmental Quality Incentive Program. It's administered by the Natural Resources Conservation Service. It's a one-time cost share payment for forest establishment. It pays for site prep and tree planting. A site prep could include an herbicide treatment, a prescribed burn, ripping, heavy mechanical, is that right? Anything that you need to do to get that property ready to be planted, that's site preparation. And it pays for the tree planting. It's used to implement conservation practices to address natural resource concerns or problems such as impaired water quality, conservation of ground and surface water resources, improvement of air quality, reduction of erosion and soil sedimentation, and improvement or creation of wildlife habitat for at-risk species. The cost share ranges from 50% to 90% depending on practice and eligibility. To receive the higher cost share, landowners must be a limited resource farmer, a beginning farmer or rancher, or historically underserved. And that determination will be made by the Natural Resources Conservation Service through the application process. The next one is Conservation Reserve Program. It's administered by the Farm Service Agency. It's a one-time sign-up bonus payment of $100 per acre. Is that right? So you get $100 per acre just for signing up. It's a one-time cost share payment for forest establishment, 50 to 90%, same as before. It pays for site preparation and tree planting. It's a 10 to 15-year contract with annual soil rental payments, and those soil rental payments are based on soil type. And to be eligible, you must have a cropping history 4 out of the last 6 years, or it must be pasture land. It's used to implement conservation practices to address natural resource concerns, such as bottomland hardwoods restoration, wetland restoration, and to qualify for that, the land must be recognized in the 100-year floodplain and contain 51% hydric soils. And that preliminary determination is made by the NRCS, or the Natural Resources Conservation Service. And it's also used to reduce soil erosion and soil sedimentation. And this is the most commonly used, a riparian forest buffer, which is a 180-foot buffer strip along streams and ponds. And it also pays for whole fields. Other financial assistance programs of interest. The Conservation Stewardship Program. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about this, but it's administered by the Natural Resources Conservation Service. It's a 5-year contract. It's used to treat natural resources and improve conservation performance. It encourages agricultural producers to improve conservation systems by undertaking additional conservation activities. Applicants address resource concerns that are not being met with existing activities. So if you already have a plan in place, but there's some other things that you want to do on your property, for instance, if a prescribed burn is not mentioned in your management plan and you want to do one, then this may be something that you want to look at. It pays you annual payments for 5 years, which could help offset some of those costs incurred by doing extra activities. The Wildlife Habitat Incentive Program. Now, until the federal government decides what they're going to do about the Farm Bill, these next 2 programs that I'm going to talk about are virtually non-existent, but they're worth mentioning. It's administered by the Natural Resources Conservation Service and the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. It's a 5 to 10-year contract, and it's used to establish and improve fish and wildlife habitat. The next one is a Wetland Restoration Program, WRP. It's used to restore the functions and values of wetland ecosystems that have been devoted to agriculture use. There's no annual rental payments. There's 3 different ways that you can sign up for this. There's a 15-year contract or easement that pays 50% cost share for establishment. A 30-year easement will pay 75% cost share for establishment. Permanent easement will pay 100% cost share and a payment for your land. Now in the Mississippi River Valley, this will pay $750 per acre if you have trees on it. It'll pay $2,000 per acre for non-irrigated land, $2,400 an acre for irrigated land. In the coastal plain, which the dividing line of the coastal plain in the Mississippi River Valley runs right through the middle of Lincoln and Jefferson County. It's basically where the delta ends and the little bit of rolling hills begins. In the coastal plain, it will pay $1,900 per acre for irrigated land, $1,800 for non-irrigated, and $750 for trees. Now there are restrictions with this program. Before you sign up with under this program, you need to make sure that you understand those restrictions. And you can ask your district conservationist about that. The National Water Quality Initiative. It's funded through EQIP. It's a special initiative to improve water quality in specifically identified watersheds. And right now, this is only being implemented in Jefferson and Lincoln counties. And it's along Jack's Bayou, Cozart Bayou, and Deep Bayou along the Bayou Bartholomew watershed. And you should check with the Natural Resources Conservation Service for eligibility and program date deadlines. Summary. Private landowners should always seek professional assistance, always, because it takes years to heal mistakes. Private landowners should have a written management plan, and you can obtain a forest management plan at no cost, and there is cost share assistance available to help landowners establish and manage their forest. It's something to think about. This is a quote from Aldo Leopold in his book, The Farmer as a Conservationist. The landscape of any farm or forest is the owner's portrait of himself. And this is a quote from a landowner in Columbia County. My attitude toward nature has changed. Long ago I took the parts I wanted. Today I'm putting back parts it needs. Forest Management Plan can help you do this. And before I take questions, I want to tell you something about this man here. His name is Mr. Lee Williams, ironically, and this is his brother Larry. This is a perfect example of a man taking a Forest Management Plan 25 years ago, following it to the T. This is his second thinning right now, and you can look at the quality of the timber that he's getting off of it. He would have had no idea of how to do this if he would not have had a management plan in place. Now, I'll take any questions you may have and try to answer them. The question was, she was told that there was a spider that was killing pine trees, but no, ma'am, there is not a spider. There's several different pine beetles that kill pine trees. The one that we were talking about was a southern pine beetle. Yes, ma'am, and I'm not sure how to reword that. I'll just tell you, trees have their own defense mechanism. And the more healthy they are, the more vigorously they're growing, the better chance they have to fight off and attack. And the way we do this is to thin it. The less trees you have on the soil, the more nutrients there is for the trees to take up, and that keeps them healthy and keeps them growing vigorously. The question is, it has to deal with which trees to take out when you thin. You want to leave your better trees. The ones you want to take out are the diseased, the forked, just any kind of deformed trees that are out there. You want to leave your best trees growing. The question was, when you replenish a forest,
you'll clean them out. There's all this space. So I want to know how you got to plant some pine in there, is that right?
No, ma'am. And when you thin it, when you thin it, what you're doing is taking out trees that need to come out to give room for the other ones to grow. The only time that you would really want to plant is after you do a final harvest, when you clear cut. Then you can come in and reforest it. Right.
Now that's that time frame he's talking about. It's going to take so many years to go, once you plant the small ones in there, you got to start waiting.
It's usually between 10 and 15 years before you get a commercial harvest. The question is he owns some land in the Mississippi Delta. And it has a lot of hardwood on it, and he's wondering what needs to be done. I can't tell you what needs to be done without looking at it.
Okay.
I would advise you to get your county forester to come out and look at it and give you some advice. The question was, is he had a harvest done a few years ago, and he has a lot of logging debris left on the ground, and he's wondering what to do about that. If it's rotted down enough, you can contact the Arkansas Forestry Commission, and they can conduct a prescribed burn for you. That would clean it up. Thank you.